Hey everyone, welcome to Geekdom Forecast, and in today's episode, I'm going to be talking about this one particular animated series which I think it's on its way in becoming one of the best animated series in a while and almost on the level of Invincible, mostly due to the trajectory that it's on. And based on the cover photo, I think you all know what I'm talking about. Only 3 episodes in on X-Men 97, and believe me, it has done a lot as compared to what the X-Men films could not encapsulate. Is it too early to say that it's one of the greatest things ever? Absolutely. But based on its current flow, based on how things are progressing, I'm really liking where this series is heading to.
He's out of line, but he's right.
Yes, it's a product of nostalgia. Nostalgia, if done well, could be a great way to give justice to a lot of the established characters within the X-Men universe. So in this video, I'm going to give you my first thoughts on X-Men 97 and also what, in my opinion, are things that are really going well for this series.
Go, baby! Let's go! Let's go!
To the first point, that is Cyclops. We all know that Cyclops was criminally underutilized in the original X-Men film trilogy and even in the later, newer films.
Look how they massacred my boy.
When you start with the first episode of X-Men 97, Cyclops is in full action mode and he's doing all his crazy things with his concussive blast. And there's this one epic scene which is, in my opinion, one of the best superhero landings ever.
It was perfect. Perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
In short, Cyclops is a badass. He's a Boy Scout, but he is a badass Boy Scout. As you can see, I'm a big Cyclops fan. In fact, I would go on to admit that I haven't watched all the episodes of the older X-Men animated series. I have watched few of them when they were back in Fox Kids thanks to Star Plus. Now, don't get me wrong, Cyclops is not a truly heroic character. He has done a lot for the mutant kind, but there are a few things that, well, he has killed Charles Xavier, but he was under the influence of the Phoenix. He has cheated on Jean Grey quite a few times. He has abandoned Madeline Pryor and his son Nathan on learning that Jean Grey is back. In simple words, he's a very layered character with a lot of flaws, and if done well, this can come out beautifully. He was one of Xavier's first students, and there's almost like a father-son relationship between Scott and Charles Xavier, and the eventual arc of him becoming into something like Magneto is very, if done well, that it has happened in the comics, and if done well, it's going to be absolutely insane. Cyclops is one of those characters who wouldn't mind sacrificing one person to save an entire village. So, long story short, loving how they are treating Scott in the new series. The fact that he's one of the central characters really warms my heart. Now, enough about Cyclops, let's move on to the other points. I'm glad, very happy in fact, that Wolverine is not one of the central characters of the show. But I always felt that in the X-Men films, there's always Wolverine who was the central character. There's always Wolverine where the entire plot revolved around. And because of this, key characters like Cyclops and Storm, they kind of took a back seat.
Peaceful thought.
And I can't entirely blame the film series, or I'm not even blaming them, but to fit so many complex characters, complex X-Men characters into a 2 to 3 hour entertainment capsule is pretty complex. Now, talking about Magneto, I think Magneto is one of the best things about this series, and the fact that we are now seeing the good side of Magneto, even though he's wrestling the fact that he would want, if he wants, he can just wipe out the entire humankind and again wage the war between humans and mutants. But he can't do that because he needs to honor his but he needs to honor Charles Xavier's win.
Charles Xavier entrusted me with his dream, and it does not ask you to love or embrace my kind as your own, but merely to accept that this is a shared world, and that my kind, like yours, have the right to live in it. I am trying to be better.
And let's talk about the entire saga of Cable, which I'm sure is on its way. And the animated show within one episode or with the first 3 episodes have done an amazing job of setting up Cable for the future. I mean, we did see Cable in the animated series, but this whole thing involving Mr. Sinister and Jean Grey's clone Madeline Pryor and how they have streamlined the entire saga of Cable and his origins, I think it's a job pretty well done by the storytellers of X-Men 97. Now, someone who, in my opinion, is a welcome surprise is Morph. Morph was one of the first characters that got killed off early in the classic animated series, and eventually we realized that he was brainwashed by Mr. Sinister. And in this the fact that he can morph into so many characters, that it's a wonderful cameo fest that we can see through him.
Coming out. Damn!
Here's a fun fact. He was known as Changeling in the comics, and he wasn't a very important character. And they eventually had to change his name because there was another DC character going by the same name. There are some other characters who I would love to see down the line. And for me, on my top list is Bobby Drake, aka Iceman. He just was involved in very few episodes of the original animated series, but now with a new dynamic and a new identity that he's bringing in, I think it would be a welcome change.
Thanks.
No problem.
And maybe not just mutants, but other characters as well within the animated Marvel universe, because I fondly remember most of the characters outside the X-Men, which includes the likes of Spider-Man, have cameoed, or vice versa. I remember the original Spider-Man animated series was also a launchpad for the introduction of other varied Marvel characters. So keeping in mind what X-Men 97 is doing and how it's such a big hit right now, I wouldn't mind other characters from the Marvel Universe besides the X-Men to show up. Let this also video be a reminder that in case things go south, I was this excited at least till the first 3 episodes. And maybe later I can talk about the disappointment if it ever happens, and I hope it doesn't happen. So alright guys, see you soon, take care, don't forget to like, share and please do subscribe. I'll see you all soon. Bye bye.